Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. 3.2% COLA sucks. And, there are some things that maybe we can collectively try to do, but it's going to take speaking up and it's going to take pushing. There's a lot of indicators out there that really show that the way that the COLAs have been calculated over the years are not keeping pace with inflation. And that's a real issue. The Senior Citizens League, which is, I've talked about them and I've quoted them many times. They're an advocacy group, obviously, for seniors, and specifically related to Social Security stuff is a really big focus for them. And they have done study after study showing that senior citizens and Social Security recipients are consistently falling behind with the difference between the actual inflation, the inflationary costs, versus the actual cost of living adjustments. The gap, it just gets bigger and bigger. I wanted to talk about it a little bit here and share with you some information that I found on NASDAQ.com regarding COLA and kind of some of the indicators, and also talk about what we could potentially do, as well as those couple pieces of legislation that I've also talked about in the past, and just kind of vent, I guess, a little bit and start to get some of this information to float around and be seen by the masses, right? The more folks that hit the thumbs up, the more people that share this type of information, eventually our elected officials get wind of it as well, right? I'm one person. I can talk to a few people. Obviously, the more subscribers that we get collectively, many hands make light work, right? So the more subscribers, the louder voice that I can have as well when it comes to a collective goal. So anyway, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff, and let's dive into it. Share this with a friend, really. If you can, do that. Also, if you're not a member, consider joining. It does help the channel out a lot, and it helps me to find you guys in the comments, and I really do appreciate all of your support. So first thing here, I'm going to dive into this article a little bit from NASDAQ regarding some of their input regarding COLA. And then I'll give my 2 cents along the way. So it says here, Social Security, and by default, right, VA. So Social Security's COLA, cost of living adjustment, and VA, Veterans Affairs, cost of living adjustment, timing issue. Most retirees won't see all of the 3.2% Social Security COLA has for 2024 actually make it to your bank account because of the higher Medicare Part B premium. So this is obviously a Social Security concern, which many of you are receiving Social Security. There's also another factor that could erode how much what you receive will actually help. Social Security has a COLA timing issue. And I'm going to stop right there and just say, I think it sucks that we always take just a little snapshot of the year to determine what COLA should be. For example, we have some major issues going on in the world, and subsequently we're probably going to see oil prices start to move, right? Which will then in turn create more instability, uncertainty, fear. You're going to have doubt on our markets. You're going to have a rise in inflation. And then what's going to happen is this 3.2 is going to be even worse than it is right now in this moment. Right now in this moment, it's already behind the ball for most of us, right? So there's some issues that we're facing here. So moving forward here in this article, the COLA for 2024 was calculated based on the increase in inflation between the third quarter of 2022 and the third quarter of 2023. That's calendar years. Retirees have already felt the impact of the higher prices of goods and services before they receive 1 penny from the Social Security increase for next year and Veterans Affairs increase for next year. Those dollars, those increases, although agreed upon, aren't going into effect yet. And guess what? Prices are still going up, and they're probably going to go up higher. Jumping back into it, it's even possible that inflation could be worse. And this is from NASDAQ.com. So let's start that sentence again. It's even possible that inflation could be worse next year than it has been so far in 2023. Fuel prices might soar with geopolitical uncertainty. That would cause the prices of many other products to increase as well. In this scenario, a 3.2% COLA would quickly lose its fizz. It's already lost its fizz with all of us, right? So from a political standpoint, right, we need legislative action to change how COLA is calculated and all that stuff, right? So with that, we're coming up on election years, right? So that's something to really think about. That if you put pressure now, right, if everybody starts putting pressure now, especially if all of a sudden in the next couple months, the inflation skyrockets, and we're stuck with this 3.2 that's not even in effect yet, meaning that we still have effectively 15 months before the next COLA, right, after this one. So if we're already behind the ball now, then we need to push on our electeds, especially if inflation starts to tick up. So as we get next month's numbers, which is October's numbers in November, and November's numbers in December, if we are not barking up our legislators' trees, then there's nothing going to happen. Trust me. So if they have elections coming up this next cycle, right, during the presidential election, this needs to be a talking point, and it's only going to be a talking point if we push it. It's the only way that it's going to happen. So with that, let's dive back into this. The article goes on to say, that said, retirees will still be better off with the Social Security increase than they would be without any adjustment at all. No kidding. I'd rather have $3 than no dollars. Despite the offset from higher Medicare Part B premiums and the prospects of a higher inflation, Social Security's recent announcement, COLA, truly is good news. The $21,756 Social Security bonus most retirees completely overlook. If you're like most Americans, you're a few years or more behind on your retirement savings. But a handful of little-known Social Security secrets could help you ensure a boost in your retirement income. For example, one easy trick could be you pay as much as $21,756 more each year once you learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits. We think you could retire confidently with the peace of mind we're all after. And then it just has a little hyperlink there with more information. So with that, on that last part, I would say get with any financial advisor, retirement planning, that type of stuff. Take advantage of any sort of free reviews, that type of stuff, and make sure that you're setting yourself up correctly and making sure that you are utilizing any of the loopholes within all of this stuff. It is so complicated to really understand what's out there. That, I'm not going to go pull my own teeth, right? I'm going to go to a dentist and have them do it. So make sure you do that with your financial health too, and take advantage, like I said, of any sort of free kind of reviews of your situation to make sure you're not missing anything. So now, shifting real quick, if you're still with me, what we need to do is really push on our legislators, work with our veteran service organizations such as the VFWs, the American Legions, the DAVs, all of that stuff, to really work on a way. In my mind, there's two options. There's a Veterans Affairs specific option, and then we also have the greater all option, which would be including Social Security recipients. So either way is going to be a push from the entity in order to make it happen. Now, I've said this in another video that, look, if we try to obtain a higher payout from Social Security and VA benefits, it will be a massive amount of money. And we already know that Social Security is already facing many problems to stay solvent, which is that's not new news, right? Everybody knows this. So one other option would be focus on VA solely and just look at VA recipients and just point out the fact that this is just not conducive to combating inflation with these small COLAs. Now, I get it. 3.2%, this is the pushback, right? 3.2% is actually one of the highest in the past 10 or 15 years. It's probably in the top 5. So the top 5 percentage increases, it might be in the top 4 percentage increases for the last 15 years. So you're going to get a little pushback. But when we articulate how much the inflation actually is, especially utilizing this 3-month window to calculate our fate for the next 15 months until we get the new one, is a little bit absurd, especially when there's so many, factors out there that are not controllable, like our current situation with Israel, our current situation with all the other aspects out there, like Ukraine. You got all kinds of uncertainty in this world that trickle in and cause issues with our own economy. So, and then when oil goes up, it just screws everything else up. So, just wanted to share that with you. I hope that we can collectively work together to pound on our legislators' desks and see if we can get some sort of action. If not now, hopefully sometime in the future, we can get some new way to calculate COLA. There are 2 pieces of legislation, right, out there, and they both call for utilizing the CPI-E. That's the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. Now, that is a way, and what has been determined with that as a calculation would render approximately a 0.25% higher COLA adjustment. Now, that's a way. It doesn't have to be the way. Another way could be utilize the current CPI-W, which has always been used. Utilize that and do a plus figure. So CPI-W plus 0.5, right? An extra 0.5% or something like that. But we have to work together and we have to be on the same page, right? So we have the issue at hand. We know what the issue is. Now we need to start working on some sort of a solution. There's many smart people out there, but we need to come up with a solution or a menu of solutions and then start showing those to our elected officials, both within the constituencies, right? So in our local neighborhoods, reaching out to our congressional members and telling them what's happening from a local level, and then at the Hill with our veteran service organizations like the DAV and the Paralyzed Veterans and the Order of Purple Heart and American Legion and you name it, right? There's a ton of them. But get them all singing the same tune as well on that side. So we're kind of getting them from both sides. So they're hearing it from both sides. And hopefully, again, with an election coming up, we might be able to get some sort of piece of legislation that could actually pass, right? But like everything, they need to find the money from somewhere. So that needs to be in our mindset as well. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.